circles of friendship. Why can't they be like triangles of friendship or squares or stars of friendship? I don't know. I'm just using the normal language. Let's get into that. Hey ladies, welcome to Women Power Wednesday on the Marriage by Design podcast. This is a time where I get to talk to you ladies about what the Bible has to say to us, how we can apply that, and about women in the Bible. And this month we're talking about friendship. This week specifically, we're talking about circles of friendship. Last week we talked about friendship in the Bible and what we can learn about it. The next week I'll actually have a guest with me, and I'm excited about that. We're going to talk about prioritizing friendship, and then the last week we will be discussing how to be a good friend. So this week we're talking about circles of friendship, and in my opening I said, why can't we call it like triangles of friendship? I'm just using the normal language. Usually when we're talking about things, we talk about them in circles. So circles of friendship. What the heck do I mean by that? I'm talking about having friends that are kind of in different categories. Not that we love them or love them any differently or anything like that, but when you think about your friends, you probably have some that are really close to you, some that are not quite as close, and some that you still hang out with, but they're just more distant, you know? And so that's what we're talking about, our circles of friendship and why that's important. So if we look in the Bible, we see Jesus, of course, is the ultimate example for everything for us as believers. And so I'm going to use his example. He had 12 disciples, 12 people who were in his inner circle. He did life with these 12 disciples. He wasn't married, so he didn't have a spouse to do everything in life with, but he had these 12 disciples that he shared his life with. He did a lot of things with. He did ministry with, and we see several of them really taking on his ministry after his death to help spread the gospel. So he had these 12, and he poured into them over his ministry. We can see that he really taught them a lot. He was trying to help them to understand who he was and what his life was all about, what the kingdom of God is all about. And he's really, of course, the ultimate example of friendship, but we can see him really pouring his life out into other people, and those close to him were some of these men, these 12 disciples. So he did life with these 12. But even in that 12, he had 3 that were the closest to him. Peter, James, and John were people that he kind of favored, is the only word I can come up with, but they were closer to him than even the other disciples. They just had a closer relationship with him. They were kind of called out sometimes to be with him when the other 9 weren't. So even in that 12, he had 3 that were very close. And those 3 we can see continuing on his ministry after his death. So we can see even in that example of the 12 that there's an importance of having some people that are very close and some that we keep maybe not as close. And why do we do that? Well, because of course we can't be close friends with everybody out there. There's lots of people that I enjoy being friends with and I love having as friends, but I can't be super close with all of them. I do have some that are my really close friends I would go to for anything. I know would be there for me for everything. And then I have some people that are in different lengths of circles around me as well. And I love them too. It's just not possible to be close with everybody. So we learn that Jesus has these 12, but he also has 3 that are really close to him as well. And he has friends outside of that 12 too. We can see a good example is Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Those were siblings that he was friends with. And in fact, that friendship started with hospitality. So Jesus was traveling and they brought him in into their home, and they were being hospitable to him. And so we see that friendship starting with hospitality. But those seem to be good friends with him. Those three seem to be good friends with him as well. So these circles, I'm going to really encourage you for you to have a few really close friends that are your ride or die friends. You know, you would do anything for these people. You know, they would do anything for you. And if you're married, I would also strongly encourage you to have those people be people that are champions for your marriage too. So not people who are going to hear you complain about your spouse and be like, oh yeah, he's a chump, you know. People who are helping to pour into you as a believer, helping to, if you have kids, helping to guide your kids, raise your kids. You know, they're not being a parent, of course, but they're modeling good things for your kids. They're people that maybe your kids can go to if they ever need anything when they get older or whatever. Just people who are constantly helping to sharpen you, and that you're also pouring into to sharpen them. And then having a circle too where you see them frequently, you do things, but maybe you're not sharing like the depths of your soul with them. Maybe they're people who you just can't, again, you can't be close friends with everybody. You can't be BFFs with everyone, but they're people who are close with you, who love you and you love, and you can do life together some, but they're not going to be knowing the depths of your soul, and you're not gonna pour your life out with them. And then maybe a wider circle of people who, yeah, it's super fun to get together with them. It's fun to hang out and do stuff. And maybe they're not even people who know a ton about the inner workings of you. Maybe they don't know a lot about what's going on, and that's okay. But you like hanging out, you like doing some life together. It's just not possible. And having people in that wider circle that are maybe not where you are in your faith is totally a great thing. People who are believing different things than you, or would give you advice that maybe isn't the best advice all the time. I mean, we all give cruddy advice sometimes, but you know, the people that you probably wouldn't run to when you're in a really terrible circumstance and you need help at 2:00 in the morning. You know, it's okay to have those circles. It's a great thing to have lots of friends and to have those friends in different circles. And maybe they're moving in and out of those different circles at different times, just because of the way life is and circumstances and moving and all that sort of thing. It's totally fine. And again, having people in a close circle or a further circle doesn't mean that you like them more or less or prefer them or anything like that. Sometimes it's just necessary, or it's just circumstantial or something like that. So anyway, in these circles of friends, I would really strongly encourage you, if you're somebody who has a lot of friends, think about, who should I be really close with, that I should be pouring into, and hopefully there are people who are pouring back as well, that I can really be totally myself around, and vice versa. And who are the other people who are kind of on the outside of that. And just thinking about those sorts of things and why that's important. And I would say when Nathan and I went through 2012, the depths of despair of our marriage, I I had friends that at the time I thought were close, but I very quickly realized I don't want to be ride or die with them because they're more concerned about what's easy or my happiness than they are about God's best for my life. And they're not bad people. It's just that I know I want my life to be in always with God in the center. And so that means that even when it's hard, even when I don't want to, I want to be encouraged to stay in God's will. Even if I think that's not going to make me happy or that's not the easiest thing or whatever, I want the people who are closest to me telling me, no, Andrea, that may not be what you want to do, but that's what you need to do. And so I quickly realized there were people that I loved, that I was friends with, that I couldn't pour my heart out to, that I couldn't get advice from because I didn't want my head to be filled with things that I knew weren't right. So I came to learn about how important it is to have a really close knit group of friends, and then friends that are maybe not quite as close, and then friends that are really more hang out and we enjoy each other at that really hard point in my life, because I realized that the things that I'm hearing can so affect the way I think and the actions that I take. And I want it to be based on truth, and I want it to be based on God's will, and I want it to be the right thing, and I want to walk in God's truth. And hearing things that tickle my ears sometimes is not good for my situation. So that's the importance of having circles of friends. Hopefully you can start thinking about, hey, who are my really close friends? Who should I have in that really tight circle, and who should be, maybe a little bit further out? Not that you have to tell them. There's no point. There's not necessarily a reason that you need to tell them, but just thinking about how you interact with those people and what's good in your interaction with friends. So hopefully that all made sense. And I wasn't talking in circles, but thanks for joining, and I look forward to seeing you next week when I have a super special, awesome guest in to help talk about prioritizing friendships. Have a great day. Hey, thanks for joining us on Marriage by Design. If you were impacted by this video, like it by hitting the thumbs up below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and once you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when new episodes release.
Excellent. Also, one of the huge pillars of our show is interactivity between us and you. So we would love you to comment down in the comments below if you have thoughts about this video, or if you have questions or other things you'd like to see considered in the future. In addition, if you'd like, you can email us. That's marriagebydesignpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram @marriagebydesignpodcast, or you can find us on Facebook by searching Marriage by Design Podcast. Finally, if you want to, you can tweet at us. We do have a Twitter account that is @MarriageXDesign. Thanks, and have a great day.